I'm back. I'm back in the motherfucking building. Last video, we talked about fat loss. We talked about the best ways to lose fat loss, top 3 ways to lose fat loss. If you haven't watched that video already, log the fuck out of this video and go watch that video right now. But right now, what we're going to talk about today is the top 3 ways to build muscle. The top 3 keys that you can use to start implementing and building muscle. If you don't have these 3 keys, you're not going to build muscle. So let's dive right into number 1, right? Most people that are trying to build muscle, especially skinny men and skinny guys, they don't even know that they're eating in a caloric deficit, right? So you think you're eating a lot, you think because you're full at the end of the day, you're getting enough meals in to build muscle. Most of the time, that is not the case. If you actually track yourself out in a day, you'll realize, wow, I'm actually 500 calories under my maintenance, right? So you're actually in a caloric deficit, which is why you're never able to gain weight, you're never able to build muscle, right? So let's talk about that. Number 1, if you want to be able to build muscle, you have to eat in a caloric surplus, which means you need to be eating more calories than the maintenance calories. Maintenance calories means the calories that you need to stay where you're at right now. Let's say you're 150 pounds, you need a certain amount of maintenance calories for you to stay at 150 pounds. Now, let's say you want to bulk up, you want to build muscle, right? You want to go from 150 pounds to 180 pounds. The only way you're going to do that is in a caloric surplus. Right, so number 1 is caloric surplus. If you're not eating in a caloric surplus, you're wasting your time. You need to be eating meals that have a lot of calories, dense foods, right? Potatoes, meats, rice is another one that you could use, but there's not a lot of calories in rice. It's just a lot of carbs, right? So you want to be focusing on dense meals. You want to be eating a lot of protein, right? That's what's going to really help you with building muscle. If you're not tracking your calories, it's going to be very hard for you to know if you're in a caloric surplus. Most days you're going to be in a caloric deficit and you won't even know it. So number 1, if you want to build muscle, there's no avoiding this, you need to be in a caloric surplus. Number 2, this is the same tip that I had in the last video, and I'm going to talk about it again, but more on the building muscle side. Number 2, you need to be at an adequate amount of protein per day. How the hell do you expect for your body to build muscle if you're not feeding it what it needs to build muscle? There's no way in hell you are going to build muscle if you're not eating enough protein. So what you can start out with is 0.5 to 1 gram per pound, right? So if you weigh 150 pounds, just keep it simple. You weigh 150 pounds, get 150 grams of protein in per day. Right, that's the minimum for you to be able to maintain where you're at, right? If you want to build muscle, you're going to want to tip it up a little bit more, right? So you need to make sure that you're eating adequate levels of protein. If you're not, you're going to be in a deficit, right? So if you struggle with eating, you struggle with eating a lot of meals, and you struggle with, having the appetite to eat, then maybe you need to look more into liquids. There's some protein shakes out there that will get you to that caloric surplus at the end of the day a lot easier than chowing down 3 extra meals, right? I'll make another video talking about what I think is the best proteins. But number 2, adequate levels of protein. If your protein levels are low, you're going to perform like shit and you're not going to build muscle. That's just what it is. So number 2, you need to be at an adequate level of protein per day. Number 3, right? This is also revolving back to my last video. You need to be in the gym, right? But not only being in the gym, you need to be lifting in the matter of where you're putting tension on your muscles, whether that be you lifting heavy weight or whether that be you lifting with high reps, high intensity. You need to be demanding the muscle to grow through exercise. If you're in the gym doing these weak, crappy workouts, you're not feeling anything, you're not feeling any type of burn, you're just walking through your sets, you're not going to build muscle. Think about it. The body is a survival tool. It's only going to do what you demand it to. So if you're in the gym crawling through your workouts, you do a quick 10 reps, you think you're done, that's it, you go on to the next exercise, that's nothing. You're not going to build muscle with that. So what I recommend is you lifting with moderate weight, 8 to 12 reps. That's going to be where you're building strength at. 8 to 12 reps. Well, you can go up to 8 to 15 reps is the best rep range, I would say, for building muscle. Lower than 8 reps, we're talking about power, right? You're talking about building a lot of power. If you want strength, you want to build more muscle, you need to be in the 8 to 15 rep range, and your exercises need to be demanding. So that's number 3. you need to be working out, and your workouts need to be in high intensity, high intense workouts. That's the only way your body's going to change. Think about it, right? And when we can put this into multiple scenarios. So that's the third one I can say that will help you out with building muscle. If your workout plan is not in line and your workout plan is too soft, you're not going to build muscle, right? So I would definitely recommend upping the intensity on your workouts, focusing on compounds, 8 to 12 rep range, so that you can build an adequate amount of muscle, right? So those are my top 3 tips I can give you for building muscle. So number 1, you want to be eating in a caloric surplus. Number 2, you want to be in a high protein diet, 1 gram per pound minimum. Number 3, you want to be working out in a workout regimen, in a workout routine that is demanding, that is intense, that is pushing you to grow that muscle. 8 to 12 rep range, right? Maybe you could even go up to 8 to 15 if you're a rep guy, but make sure you're actually feeling your workouts. If you don't feel them, you're not building muscle most likely, right? So those are my top 3 tips that I can give you for building muscle. I'll be talking about in other videos, what protein shakes I use, what protein shakes you guys can use to benefit you on your journey. But from now on to this day, with these top 3 tips that you have, you can go ahead and start effectively building muscle, right? So if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments below. I'll be able to answer them. I'll probably talk about them on a YouTube video soon. And don't forget to thumbs up the video, and don't forget to subscribe and share to all the people out there that need help with something like this. Thank you for tuning in. My Instagram is morepower305, and you can also follow me on YouTube at morepower305 as well. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys.